the shadows, the city hides its secrets. Whispers of the lost echo where no one dares to look. Every story begins with a question. But not every secret wants to be found.
A quiet Ohio morning. A farmer driving down a rural stretch of road. And a discovery that would haunt an entire community for almost 4 decades. On April 24th, 1981, a farmer in Miami County, Ohio, saw something strange on the side of a small road. At first, he thought it was just a pile of clothes, a brown jacket, maybe a blanket. But as he got closer, he froze. It wasn't a blanket. It wasn't clothing tossed from a car. It was the body of a young woman, beaten, strangled, and left behind like she meant nothing. She had no ID, no belongings, no name. For years, investigators called her the Buckskin Girl because of the deerskin fringe jacket she wore. And for 37 years, that was all anyone knew about her. A face, a jacket, and a mystery with no voice. But in 2018, with a brand new forensic tool the world had barely even heard of, everything changed. This is how the girl with no name finally got her identity back. The location was rural, quiet, far from traffic. Whoever left her there didn't want her to be found quickly. When deputies arrived, they immediately saw signs of assault. Her injuries suggested she fought back hard against her killer. She was wearing a handmade buckskin jacket with long fringe on the sleeves. Something unique. Something that should have identified her instantly. But no missing persons report matched her description. No fingerprints matched any record. There was no purse, no jewelry, no leads. Detectives canvassed local towns, showed her photograph door to door, even reached out to communities across state lines. Nothing. Months passed, then years, then decades, and slowly, her case grew colder than the Ohio wind that blew across that empty field. Yet investigators refused to give up. They buried her with respect. They preserved her clothing. They stored her DNA, hoping science would one day catch up. They didn't know it yet, but the technology that would finally identify her hadn't even been invented. For 37 years, police artists created reconstructions of her face. Clay model sketches, digital composites. In every version. Her freckles, her soft features, her reddish-brown hair, her youth. They hoped someone, somewhere, would recognize her. But time has a cruel way of erasing faces. And as the years passed, the mystery of the Buckskin Girl faded into the background when thousands of cold cases scattered across America. Then, in 2016, investigators decided to try again. A new method had just started spreading through the forensic community. DNA phenotyping, a way to predict physical appearance from genetic markers. Using that technology, they created a brand new reconstruction. And for the first time in decades, her face felt alive again. Yet still, no one came forward. But this time, she had something she never had before. A full DNA profile. A complete biological signature. Ready for the next leap in forensic science. And that moment came 2 years later. In early 2018, the Miami County Sheriff's Office reached out to a then little-known nonprofit called the DNA Doe Project. Pioneers of radical technology that was about to rewrite forensic history. The method used DNA not to match a suspect, not to compare to criminal databases, but to build an entire family tree. This wasn't traditional Cody's matching. Cody's could only find exact matches. Criminals already in the system. The Buckskin Girl had none. But the DNA Doe Project used GeneMatch, a public genealogy database where people uploaded DNA to find relatives. Anything from a distant cousin to a great aunt could be enough. Investigators extracted her DNA, rebuilt a genetic profile, and uploaded it to the database. At first, nothing. Then, after cross-checking segment by segment, they found something. Not a parent, not a sibling, but distant cousins, third, maybe fourth cousins, scattered across America. This is where the brilliance came in. Genetic genealogists began building a family tree, starting from ancestors in the 1800s, tracing marriages, births, deaths, migrations, until the tree began to narrow, branch by branch, generation by generation. And then a pattern appeared. A cluster of relatives from the same region, a surname that repeated, a missing daughter who had never been forgotten, but whose disappearance had never been linked to Buckskin Girl. Her name was Marcia King, 20 years old, last seen in Arkansas in 1981. Never found. On April 9, 2018, after 37 years, the breakthrough came. A direct DNA comparison to Marcia's mother confirmed it. The Buckskin Girl wasn't Jane Doe. She was Marcia Lenore King. With her identity restored, investigators and the public discovered a person, not a mystery. Marcia was born in Arkansas in 1961. She grew up in a loving family. She was kind, compassionate, and adventurous. Before her death, she had been traveling across the country, a free spirit.
Why not?
For the last 37 years, she didn't change her phone number. She was hopeful that one day her daughter would return. So we've given her answers, but it's not necessarily the answers she wanted.
Investigators held a press conference. Her mother spoke privately with detectives, grateful, emotional, relieved. For the first time in 37 years, they could finally bring Marcia home. Her remains were returned to her family, and the Buckskin Girl was removed from all unidentified persons' databases. She was Marcia again, human again, home again. Identifying Marcia was the biggest breakthrough, but the case wasn't closed. Investigators now had new leads, her last known locations, people she was traveling with, possible hitchhiking routes, time frame of her movements, individuals she met shortly before her death. Dozens of interviews resurfaced. Old witness statements were reconsidered. New technology was applied to her clothing and hair to identify regions she had traveled through before her death. But as of today, her killer has not been officially identified. Yet, DNA, genealogy, and forensic advancements continue to evolve, and Marcia's case remains active. Investigators believe that with modern methods, her killer may still be found. This case became one of the earliest examples of how genetic genealogy could identify victims, not just criminals, and it changed forensics forever. Marcia's case proved several things. No case is too old. DNA stored in the 1980s, even poorly preserved, can still identify someone decades later. Victims deserve identity. Humanity begins with a name. Solving identity cases brings closure to families and dignity to the dead. Genetic genealogy works. This case was one of the earliest successes before the method became famous in the Golden State Killer case. Technology is rewriting cold case history. Every year, more cases are solved, victims identified, and killers unmasked. Marcia's identity was the start of a wave of solved does across the United States. Her story inspired documentaries, forensic conferences, and new investigative approaches. She didn't just get her name back. She helped thousands of other unidentified victims regain theirs. For 37 years, she was a mystery, a face with no history, a girl with a jacket and a question mark. But today, she's Marcia Lenore King, a daughter, a sister, a friend, a life that mattered. And thanks to science, persistence, and a technology that didn't exist when she died, she finally made it home. If you believe every victim deserves a name, a voice, and justice, subscribe, and join me as we uncover the stories that time refused to erase.